Visit abaeservices.com for fast medical transcription service. This podcast episode is brought to you by AB Music Creative.
This episode is brought to you by Dr. Lourdes Capulong.
Let's say you have a friend, hypotheticals, right? You have a friend who goes to you and says, "Damn, I'm not having a good day." What do you normally say? "Oh, get over it." You don't say that, no? Knowing what you guys know now.
If Kieran was saying to me, "You've had a bad day," I'd encourage him to speak about it. Let's talk. Okay, why was your day bad? Let's have a conversation about it. And then maybe we could practice a bit of gratitude. Mm-hmm. Do I do that to you regularly?
Yeah,
I tell you the good bits about your bad day.
Let's stay. Good point, Jaylan. Kieran, let's all talk about that. Talking about gratitude.
I have a friend, Ben. He
Is
sends
that his real name? Or?
His name's Ben.
Okay.
But he sends
Ben.
me like a list of like a daily gratitude list. He sends me like everything that he's grateful for on that day. Every day he sends me that, and that's something anyone can do really. And that's just
so there's accountability there. Yeah,
and I think it's quite a good coping skill.
Yeah, and I think it's a good point to mention that when you are going through that, when you're having a bad day, when you're not feeling you're clouded, right? You can't think.
Brain fog. You
get brain fog, and you're just thinking of all the negative things. And it's nice to hear from someone, a friend, or like remember, it's not as bad as you think, because it never is as bad as you think.
No.
There's people go through all sorts of different things, and there's still always something to be grateful for. So it's never as bad as you think, and you kind of always. It's nice to have that person to remind you of that.
And the thing is, if it is as bad as you think, there is support out there.
Yeah,
there's always help out there, because when we are feeling that low, we do think everything is as bad as it is, and then we do need to get help.
Yeah.
So even if you're feeling like that,
speaking of help, look at the screen, because we're putting phone numbers right now. So if you need help, call the number on the screen, or go click on the description, expand it, and see the details that we've placed on this episode, so that way you can seek help. Seeking help is important, right?
Yeah, of course. It's really, really important.
How do you seek help?
So you can seek help by reaching out to different support lines, reaching out to for your friends. I mean, I'm not sure about how good the healthcare system is here.
I mean, obviously we'd always encourage reaching out to a medical or healthcare professional if it does get to that point.
If you're feeling suicidal, please call 911.
Yeah, that's what we would recommend in the UK. We'd always call our emergency services if you're feeling suicidal. Get immediate help then.
Yeah, because you never know how far it's going to go, and I think when
expound on that. You'll never know how far it's going to go. And the reason why I want you to expound on that is because people can be overly confident and think, I got this under control. But when you're there, it just spirals down, right?
Of course, yeah. So a lot of people that I've worked with in the past, they self-harm quite a lot. It's a coping mechanism where they can deal with their own things that they're experiencing inside. And I think when they are feeling suicidal and they do experience doing self-harm, they never know how far that they could take that. So I think it's really important to get help.
And drugs as well, and alcohol, you don't know how far it's going to go when you start doing drugs and stuff, so best to get help before you start taking anything. And it's very complicated, isn't it?
But Kieran, asking for help is the first sign of humility, and sometimes that's the hardest part.
It is. It takes months, sometimes years, to get to that point where you actually ask for help. But that's why friends, it's important to say, are you okay? How are you feeling? Is there anything I can do? Just opening up that conversation and giving them the chance to say, maybe one day, actually, I'm not okay. Just keep on saying that to your friend. Are you okay? Family as well.
Yeah, recognize it in your friends.
Yeah.
Are you seeing that they're acting a little bit differently? Are they withdrawing themselves a little bit more? Are they taking more substances than they would usually start taking? Are you seeing them in the usual places? are they staying at home for too long period of time? So
even changing like social groups as well, like your friends, if they change as well, that could be a sign too, depending on who you hang around with. That could be a sign, a red flag.
Has that happened to you?
Not me personally, but I have had friends who start hanging around with a little bit questionable people, and then they start getting into bad habits.
Yeah,
like
taking
drugs, alcohol,
yeah,
and that kind
And
of
that
stuff.
only amplifies whatever it is you're feeling inside, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
because you're around that kind of environment.
And a lot of the time people are using substances to kind of block and mellow down the thoughts and feelings they're feeling inside themselves. And yeah, that could be taken too far as well.
How do you protect yourselves from this? Because you're out there. And let me frame the question properly. When you're talking to kids, you're seeing their garbage. And when you're doing this advocacy, you are subliminally taking in their garbage.
Yeah.
And after a while, unbeknownst to you guys, you're carrying the garbage that you took from them. How do you guys protect yourselves from overloading? How do you unload?
To each other.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we have our own support networks as well. The work we do in schools is very heavy.
It is.
We have a lot of kids who come up to us and say, I'm feeling a certain way and I don't know what to do. And it's very emotionally
Draining.
Yeah,
it's draining.
for
Right.
us and our facilitators, yeah. But yeah, we signpost out our own team as well to services. We talk about it with each other. We debrief after we go to schools.
Exercise
as well.
too, that
And
helps me
obviously,
so
yeah.
much. Like it's a big outlet for me is exercising and just having that time to yourself to
Yeah.
kind of like let go and let loose and just finding something in yourself that you know that you enjoy, whether that's painting, listening to music, finding something in yourself is that outlet where you can just shut off, and making sure you do have time to shut off as well. So we struggle with that too, and I think a lot of people when they like are running their own business, they struggle with having a 9 to 5. There's a time where you shut off, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So you need to have that time where you say, I'm not going to work anymore and I'm going to focus on myself. Self-care.
Self-love.
Self-love, self-care.
Self-love, yeah.
And you know that, I agree. Meditation.
Yes.
Let's talk about that. How
Yeah.
important is it? People when they say, and I was one of them, when someone said, you should try meditating, and in my head, that was the thing I had in my head.
Yeah.
Until I tried it one time,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh my God, this actually works.
It's hard though.
Very hard.
It's hard.
I've got ADHD, so I'm like,
Yeah.
But then again, it's good because again, this episode is not paid for by Headspace, but it's quite normal to let your mind run free.
Of course, yeah.
It's encouraged during the initial parts of meditation, as when you're learning
Yeah, so
to
we're
meditate.
always, I feel like a lot of the time, even us, we're always thinking about the past.
right.
We're always thinking about the future, but we're not thinking about now, the here and the now.
Yeah.
And that is why meditation is so powerful, as we get to focus on now. And we definitely do not do that enough. Like our brains are not programmed to really allow us to think about now, are they? Like there's so much traffic in there.
It is important just to stop, even for 5 minutes a day, just breathe and just think and evaluate and then carry on. We're
Right.
just always going and not giving ourselves any time to just breathe and take a break.
And digest what's happening and going on.